This hearing is called to order this Tuesday, November 19th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. My name is John Morissette, member and presiding officer of the Connecticut Siting Council. Other members of the council are Brian Golombieski, designee for Commissioner Katie Dykes of the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. Quat Nguyen, designee for Chairman Marissa Paslick-Gillette of the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority. Chance Carter, Christine Hall, and Bill Syme. Members of the staff are Executive Director Melanie Bachman, Siting Analyst Ifne Nwankwo, and Administrative Support Lisa Fontaine and Dakota LaFountain. If you haven't done so already, I ask that everyone please mute their computer audio and or telephones now. Thank you. This is a continuation of the public hearing that began at 2 p.m. this afternoon. A copy of the prepared agenda is available on the council's petition number 1637 webpage, along with a record of this matter, the public hearing notice, instructions for the public access to this public hearing, and the council's Citizens Guide to Siting Council's procedures. This hearing is held pursuant to the provisions of Title 16 of the Connecticut General Statutes and of the Uniform Administrative Procedure Act upon a petition from KCE Connecticut 11 LLC for their declaratory ruling pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes Section 4-176 and Section 16-50K for the proposed construction, maintenance, and operation of a 4.99 megawatt AC battery energy storage facility and associated equipment located 100 Salmon Brook Street in Granby, Connecticut, and the associated electrical interconnection. This petition was received by the council on August 1st, 2024. The council's legal notice of the date and time of this public hearing was published in the Hartford Courant on September 17th, 2024. On this council's request, the petitioner erected a sign at the proposed electrical interconnection point for the facility site along Salmon Brook Street, so as to inform the public of the name of the petitioner, the type of facility, the public hearing date, and contact information for the council, including the website and phone number. As a reminder to all, off-the-record communication with a member of the council or a member of the council staff upon the merits of this petition is prohibited by law. This public comment session is reserved for members of the public who've signed in advance to make brief statements. These limited appearance statements are not subject to questions from the parties or the council, and members of the public making statements may not ask questions of the parties or the council. In accordance with the public hearing notice, and in fairness to everyone who signed up to speak, these public statements will be limited to 3 minutes. Please be advised that written comments may be submitted by any person within 30 days of this public hearing. I wish to note that parties and interveners, including their representatives and witnesses, are not allowed to participate in the public comment session. I also wish to note for those who are here and for the benefit of your friends and neighbors who are unable to join us for the public comment session, that you or they may send written statements to the council within 30 days of the date hereof, by mail or by email. Please be advised that any person may be removed from the public comment session at the discretion of the council. We ask each person making a limited appearance statement in this proceeding to confine his or her statements to the subject matter at hand before the council and to avoid unreasonable repetition so that we may hear all of your concerns that you and your neighbors may have. Please be advised the council cannot answer questions from the public about the proposal. A verbatim transcript will be made of this hearing and deposited at the Granby Town Clerk's office for the convenience of the public. At this time, I request the petitioner to make a brief presentation to the public describing the proposed facility. And I understand Paul Williamson will be making that presentation. Mr. Williamson, please.
Good afternoon or good evening, Mr. Morissette. Thank you for the opportunity. Just so that I'm aware of the process, will the Siting Council be showing, there we go, an image of the proposed project? Okay, thank you. So this is an image of the proposed project. The project is being proposed by Key Capture Energy, which I'll refer to as KCE, as the KCE CT11 project. KCE is an experienced developer, owner, and operator of battery energy storage projects. KCE was founded in 2016 as a utility-scale energy storage company and is headquartered in Albany, New York, with additional offices in Houston, Texas, New York, and New York City. KCE has 14 operating projects in the U.S., representing over 600 megawatts of installed capacity, with over 9 gigawatts of projects under development in the U.S. The project is a proposed 4.99 megawatt 4-hour battery energy storage system, or otherwise known as a BESS, located at 100 Salmon Brook Street in Granby. The property is a 4.85 acre lot in Granby. The project will occupy approximately 1.6 acres of the 4.85 acre property. The project is located within a vacant parcel in an area identified as a business zone C2. The 4.9 megawatt 4-hour system will include 2 power electronic inverters with 8 Canadian Solar SolBank 3.0 battery containers. The installed system will be certified to meet all safety codes and standards. The equipment will include advanced safety features, including 24/7 system monitoring, fire protection, fluid leak alarms, and containment. In the rare event of an emergency, no specialized equipment is required for response. Tests and studies demonstrate that in such case, with proper response, there is no risk to air or water quality from the project. KCE has invited the local emergency responders to educational and training opportunities, and will continue to extend the opportunity to provide information and training before the project is built and through the operational life of the project. BESS projects provide benefits, including enhanced power reliability, enabling greater penetration of renewable energy, servicing peak demand, and deferring expensive transmission and distribution infrastructure upgrades. We look forward to comments from the public.
Thank you, Mr. Williamson. We'll now call upon Michael Puskar to make a public statement, followed by Deborah Rowe. Michael, good evening.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I listened in to the afternoon session. I heard a few things, some of which were useful, some of which I kind of question. They've talked about there would be no need to evacuate. No fumes would leave the perimeter, the fence perimeter around the batteries. And I've done some research on similar battery fires. And, there were 2 near San Diego, California, just this year, where in one case, Escondido, California, and Otay Mesa. In one of them, 3 schools were closed, 500 businesses were evacuated, and 1,500 residences. Otay had similar things. There was a fire at a Tesla energy storage facility in Australia back in 2021, I believe, where they didn't mention the area that was evacuated, but there was a map, and just by looking at the map, it looks like something on the order of 24 square kilometers was evacuated, or about 10 square miles. I'm wondering why, and I've heard, the people from KCE mention that it's out of an abundance of caution. Just wondering why an abundance of caution wouldn't be required in Granby. Another question, the batteries, I believe I heard it's supposed to be, have a 20-year intended life, could last for 30 years. I'm wondering what the shutdown criteria is for the battery. What sort of levels would they be looking for? Are they monitoring for shorts, for voltage? Again, just a listing of what the shutdown criteria would be that says this thing has seen all the life it should see. Probably a bunch of others, but why don't we go with those right now?
Thank you, Mr. Pusker, and thank you for coming out this evening. We'll now continue with Deborah Rowe, followed by John Morgan. Deborah? Thank you. I understand Deborah opted out for this evening. We'll now continue with John Morgan, followed by Joe Rubin. John Morgan, please. John Morgan? Okay, we'll come back. We'll now continue with Joe Rubin, followed by John Lombardi. Joe Rubin, please. Joe Rubin? We'll now continue with John Lombardi, followed by Gail Strauss. John Lombardi, please. John Lombardi. We'll now continue with Gail Strauss, followed by Bruce Andrew. Gail Strauss, please. Gail Strauss. We'll now continue with Bruce Andrew, followed by Renard Mayer. Bruce Andrew, please.
Good evening, John. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Thank you, Bruce.
Let me say I'm a citizen of Granby, and I want to thank you and KCE and their partners for presenting a comprehensive presentation, and the exhibits that we did get to see were very thorough. I thought they were well thought out. The issues related to risk management were addressed, and to the point where I feel comfortable endorsing this project right now. And I think the right things are very visible. You've done a good job with everything so far. My feeling is that energy storage solutions, such as the proposal for this site in Granby, are in everyone's best interest. And I just want you to know you have my support, and thank you for listening to me tonight. And that's the end of my statement.
Thank you, Mr. Andrew. We'll now continue with Reinhard Mayer, followed by Robert Flanagan. Mr. Mayer.
Okay, I had to turn the microphone on. Name is Reinhard Meyer, 35-year resident in Granby. I'm a semi-retired Connecticut professional engineer, and my expertise is in electric power generation and conducting due diligence and prudency reviews. Just as a general comment to be followed by a few quick specific ones, I believe the Siting Council should decline the approval of the Key Capture Energy Project in Granby for the reason that the potential cost and harm from the project exceeds any value added to the public. I want to address a couple of specific items so I don't overlap. The solar Canadian solar cells, battery cells, are actually manufactured in China, shipped to Canada for assemblies in Canada. My experience has been that the quality of Chinese products managed by the Chinese in the power business is inferior to what a Westerner would do. Products built in China by Western companies with Western QA produce a good product. So that relates to the concerns about fire potentials. Electrical, there's a new regulation out by FERC that issued an order to ISO New England for all renewables to have dynamic electric frequency control. I don't think they have that incorporated at this particular time, but I need something to be addressed. You, sir, mentioned islanding. Based on what I've seen so far, there's no indication that islanding controls are being installed or even technically feasible. There's a long discussion earlier about the National Fire Protection Association standards, NFPA. I used to design systems under this code, and they're very good codes. But these codes do not prevent fires, explosions, or other failures in the system at any point in time, because you can't see into the system when you apply a code. There was discussion about the air plume, the dispersion modeling. It wasn't stated who wrote this particular model and code. There is a code that's used for air modeling backed by the Environmental Protection Agency, and that kind of a standard needs to be applied. And I also, sorry about asking a question, but I want to know who sets the toxicity standards in this particular case. The expression we used to use in the industry is the solution to pollution is dilution. Okay. Also, I think that all design drawings and procedures be stamped by a licensed Connecticut engineer who also has the appropriate errors and emissions insurance. And thank you very much for giving me some time here.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Thank you for coming out this evening. Well, I'll continue with Robert Flanagan, followed by Allison Tran. Robert Flanagan, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, I'm against this. Site council should definitely reject it. It was a poor presentation by Key Battery. First of all, there is no MSD information, which should have been front and center. This is also going to be built on wetlands on top of an aquifer. We're going to have problems with stormwater runoff, and there's apparently going to be 3 holding ponds. That's going to be a problem too, because it's going to possibly go directly into the wetlands. If you look on the map, you'll see dark areas. Those are the water areas. There's a pond in back of Horses and Hounds, which unfortunately leads into the east and west branch of the Salmon Brook, which are federally protected water areas. Okay, also the problem here is lithium. And I don't care if they try to say it's a different type of lithium battery. The problem is still lithium. Lithium, when there is a fire, we don't have we basically can't put it out. In Hamden, Connecticut, we had a bus fire, and as we know, we watched it for about a week and a half. It had to burn out. Missouri was most recently when there was another fire, and the town of Granby. I mean, you can train a fireman all you want, but I do know they don't, or they won't have the proper PPE, that's the proper clothing. And also when they say that there's toxins here, there's chemicals that come out from the lithium, hydrogen fluoride, phosphorus fluoride, fluoride gas. These are toxins which, they have effect. Let's look at East Palestine, Ohio. People are now ridden with cancer. It might have been a different fire, but the black fumes are not good. And it's not going to dissipate. I'd like to see, some more information about that, because we have a lot of wind here, as people know, and it's going to travel. And another thing which I was not too happy about is Key Capture did not have a protocol. There was no definite protocol on how to deal with the surrounding area of these batteries, nothing at all. And of course, another problem, these batteries are surrounded by, for cooling, antifreeze. Glycol is another problem. It doesn't ever break down. It's not good. It's not good for this area. Why would you ever want to put it into a wetlands? That's all I got to say. I can't support this. It's not good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Flanagan. We'll now go to Allison Tran, followed by James English. Allison Tran, please.
That was perfect, man. Perfect.
Allison Tran, please. Well, I'll move on to James English, followed by Jonathan Hasey. James English, please. Mr. English. Okay, moving on to Jonathan Asia, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Perfect. First, I want to say thank you for providing all the information from all parties tonight, and as well as giving me an opportunity to speak. I'm not super well informed about the science and all the logistical things about battery implementation, but a lot of my worries I feel have been quite calmed during this meeting. I was particularly worried about fire. I know Granby and a lot of places in Connecticut have had issues with fire and been encouraging people not to light any fires at risk of them spreading. But the responses I've heard tonight puts me quite a bit at ease about, the fire department's response and training. One thing that wasn't brought up that I was wondering about was the effects of the battery's implementation on the local wildlife, and if it may have any runoff in the water and could possibly pose some risks to the animals nearby. But otherwise, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out.
John?
Yes.
In English. I had my speaker off.
Oh, there you go. Hi, Mr. English. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I'm Jim English. I'm a resident at the Hunt Glen Condo Association in Granby, which is a 55 and above community. I am generally not opposed to projects like this. I think they can be valuable, but we want to be sure there's no interference with what will happen to people who live close proximity to it. The planned location of the project is a high population density with 3 condo associations, apartment buildings, and Stop and Shop, TJ Maxx, pretty busy area. At meetings provided at the Granby Town Hall for residents, TCapture was not able to provide information on how many hours or days of operation they have on this type of battery, and of any fires or anomalies that have occurred. This leads us to believe they don't have sufficient real-world experience with a proposal system. So far, on Zoom, I haven't heard this level of detail, just that simulations indicate that it's safe. We were told that it is just as safe as gas stations and hardware stores with chemicals and flammable products. This is ridiculous in my mind, since we have many years of experience with gas stations and hardware stores throughout the country that have safety measures and procedures that work with minimal effect on communities compared with lithium batteries with explosions, fires, and toxic gases. Since serious problems with lithium batteries have occurred and the current lithium iron phosphate being used have not been in service very long, TCapture is relying on UL testing as a matter of safety. Failures in the manufacturing or quality control procedures, especially in other countries, can also cause failures. As an engineer, I know this is not sufficient experience, especially if installations will be close to people's homes. The current procedure for fires to let it burn out, and TCapture knows that there will be several very toxic gases given off. Current recommendation based on simulations is to not evacuate, but that doesn't mean that it's right. When it does encompass Hunt Glen and other communities, shopping areas, there's hundreds of people that are involved, and we're within 300 to 500 feet of that site. This project should be located in a remote area where toxic gases can be dissipated to a level that would not be harmful to humans. The association recommends that the current proposed location not be approved, and we are asking for your support to deny the project. Thank you for the opportunity to respond.
Thank you, Mr. English. I will now go back to John Morgan. Mr. Morgan, have you signed in? John Morgan, please. I'll now move on to Joe Rubin. Joe Rubin, please. John Lombardi. John Lombardi. I'll now move on to Gail Strauss. Gail Strauss, please. I'll now move on to Allison Tran. Allison Tran, please. Well, thank you everyone for providing your comments this evening. The council announces that it will continue the evidentiary session of this public hearing on Tuesday, December 10th, 2024 at 2 p.m. via Zoom remote conferencing. Copy of the agenda for the continued evidentiary hearing session will be available on the council's petition number 1637 webpage, along with the record of this matter, a public hearing notice, instructions for public access to the evidentiary hearing session, and the council's citizens guide to citing council procedures. Please note that anyone who has not become a party or intervener, but who desires to make his or her views known to the council, may file written statements with the council until the public comment record closes. Copy of the transcript of this hearing will be filed at the Granby Town Clerk's office. I hereby declare this hearing adjourned, and thank you everyone once again for coming out this evening and participating. Have a good evening. Thank you.